What's going on, guys? PlayBox here. We're back for another Dragon Ball Legends video. Now in this video we're going to be doing something a bit unique. I'm going to be commenting over gameplay that I've already recorded, so it's not going to be a live commentary. I'm just going to be talking over some gameplay, and throughout these games I'm going to be pretty much explaining to you what goes through my mind when playing. So I'm pretty much explaining to you like how I play PvP. So I'll be going step by step with every moves I do in these games, and I'll pretty much explain the reasoning for why I do them, and pretty much just go from there, explain to you the techniques I use and whatnot. I'm doing this just as a special little video, just to try to help you guys, because a lot of you have been asking me for some more PvP guides, and I did some in the past, and most of those guides still hold up till this day. So there's not really much to add to those guides in terms of tips and tricks. So I thought I might as well just go through with this and kind of go step by step on how I play PvP and what goes through my mind when playing. So without further ado, let's hop in straight into the matches. Alright, so this first match we're going up against some Zenkai Super Saiyan units, of course with Bardock and Gogeta. You'll notice that with all these matches, the way I like to start off these matches is that I first start to slowly float back in case for a tackle. In this case, he went for a tackle, so I was able to capitalize on that strike card. So all my games, I pretty much start off by back floating a bit. If they go for a tackle, I go for a strike. If not, then I just wait for a couple seconds and I go for a Ki Blast. So here, as you can see, I'm playing with UI, and this is pretty much how I like to play with UI. I want to use his initial vanishing gauge first, and then I use his initial unique gauge to gradually restore the vanishing gauge. Usually I wouldn't go for that blue card right off a key cancel, but I decided to just for fun, and it paid off. And there we got him on the side step, so now we can go for a blast card in case of Vegito, because he does have a strike cover. We're almost there to our vanishing gauge. Usually I would sidestep off of a blast card just to get the unique gauge back, but I decided to switch over to Vegito just to extend the combo, because of course he does draw cards, and you gotta be wary of the red Gogeta. So what I like to also do with blast unit characters is I like to drift mid range so I can capitalize on the blast armor. But he went for a tackle and I couldn't. So now we're back to UI. Go for the blue card. I should have honestly went for another strike and then the blue, but it is what it is. So this is a really important play right there. So a lot of people, especially in the top rankings, they like to go for a blue card and then automatically go for the rush. So what I did there is I vanished his blue card and I went for my rush, anticipating him to do something. Because if you guys don't know, a lot of the blue cards have fast animations, so you can dodge right after using a blue card. So a lot of people like to go for their rush or something like that. So I went for mine just to try to counteract that. And then of course I use his main ability, wipe out all his buffs since he's the only unit left. Here I just float just to get my vanish back to go for the key cancel and the ult, because he has pretty much no one to switch to. And it comes to a strike clash, and then I end up winning this and finishing off the game. I went pretty much flawless in this game, except for a couple tap attacks, unfortunately. But let's move on to the next one. So this next match, we're going up against some androids with double Zenkai 7, and like you saw right there, I like to dash back with Vegeta or anyone, but I wasn't able to capitalize on it, and we're going to be taking some damage. But here I decided to switch to UI because I wanted to stop the combo right there. If I were to switch to anyone else, Android 18 is going to starting to get buffs a lot. And just like with UI, it's so easy to use him because you could just drift around with him. So that's what I did and capitalize on the green card, and he used his cover recipe pretty early, which was pretty surprising. Here I switched to Gogeta and went right away because I anticipated him to delay his sidestep. So then I switched over to Vegeta to extend the combo. Of course, it's not doing that much damage because she's Zenkai 7 and Vegeta's damage is not the best. But we're going to be just doing some damage here, and we're going to end the combo right here. We do still have our vanish, so that's important to keep in mind. Obviously with UI we can just dodge these. I go for a couple more dodges because with UI in this point of the match, I don't want to use the vanish too early because he can easily just go for a rush right after I vanish. So here I get the sidestep and use the blue card so I can get my unique gauge back. So slowly start to recover, but he goes for a long range green card, so I quickly decide to switch to Gogeta and capitalize on that. Android 21 doesn't have recovery yet, so here I just use Gogeta to its full potential. Just getting as much damage as I can and going for the rush because Android 21 is not back, so getting rid of her or 18 was a big option, was a big play for us. Unfortunately, she freaking guesses it, and at 1 HP, she switches out. So I go to 8, he goes to 18. I try to go right away because I thought he was gonna delay sidestep. Again, I went in for it and he sidestepped again. So I decide to let Vegito go in this case because I felt like UI had more to offer. Even though he had Android 18 still, I felt like UI could still be utilized better. Here he goes for another long-range green card, so I was able to capitalize on that and kill his 21. So here I try to go for the key cancel into the ultimate card because for sure, for some reason I knew that he wasn't going to switch to 21, so I wanted to go right away. This does a fair bit of damage, but of course it's Android 18, so it's obviously not going to one combo, but that's a lot of damage there. What I like to do is after an ult or a blue card, I like to just swipe right away just so I can get a perfect advantage, and it actually worked out there. So I go for my ult here because it was going to kill anyone, and he didn't use his main ability with Android 21 yet, so he doesn't have a cover rescue. So I got one person out of the way. Honestly, it was a good switch on him because Android 21 wasn't going to do anything in this situation, and 18 is scary because she can do damage. So I lost my advantage here, but of course we have the unique gauge with UI, which is this unit is so good at stalling or just just reducing timer counts and stuff. But of course he's squishy, and compared to compared to UI, he's gonna get shredded. I wanted to get the strike cover off with Gogeta, but I guess he anticipated that and went for a blast card. And now Gogeta is taking a lot of damage, and he goes for the rush, which is fine because he doesn't have his vanish anymore. So even if he got this, I was pretty much in a good spot. But Karma's a bitch, and we got him too, and we guessed his rush. I decided to dash forward and go for the taps because I want to secure the win. So let's hop on to the next one. So in this one, we're also against an Android team, and instead of Vegito Blue, I decided to bring Vados. And as you can see, like always, I always slowly drift backwards in case of a tackle, and then go for a key blast. There I went for taps in case he wanted to backdash. Always go for single taps. I keep telling you guys, always go for single taps. Never spam your tap attacks. And for some reason, I dropped combo there. That was a mistake for sure. But he uses his green card here. So that gives me info that he has all strike cards. So I went for Gogeta's cover. I went for the blue to do some decent damage. You can't expect him to take half health against Android 18, but some decent damage. But here you'll see that he starts floating to mid-range and goes for a tackle, which was a perfect indication for me to use a green card. And right now she's locked for 10 counts, or 5 counts, so I decided not to use any sidestep or charge step and just queued up all my cards to get as much damage as I can. And it ended up killing her, which was actually surprised me. So goes for another tackle, but I couldn't do anything. So as he went for a green card here, I decided to go straight away for my strike card, because if I went for a sidestep, he would have heard that and capitalized on it. So there I got a perfect, almost near perfect clash. I always like to zoom to dash front after a strike win, clash win, so he doesn't get the idea of what card I'm gonna use. And then I go for my rush, and I decided to pick Blast because Vados is a strike-based unit. She does more strike damage, and 16 is tanky as hell. And he guessed us again. So I use my main ability. I always use my main ability right after I get my rush guess, because it kind of shows me what they're gonna do. In that case, he went for a tackle, which gave me the indication that I should just let him tackle me. There he used his main ability and then switched over to 21, which is kind of weird. So as you can see, he's doing a lot of tackles, which let me capitalize on it once again. And I went for a strike card, canceled all their buffs, and went for another strike card for the ultimate. But unfortunately, this ultimate doesn't kill, which kind of stunned me because I took out all her buffs, and his ultimate is Supreme Modifier. So honestly, I wanted him to KO, but that's fine. Like I said before, after I use an ultimate, I always go for a swipe right away, and this time I got a perfect vanish where I could use my blue card, restore unique gauge, and kill a unit. I switched back to Vados because I didn't want UI to be there with no vanish. Even though he has unique gauge, I want to kind of preserve him. And so we go to Vados, then we switch over to Gogeta because he does have his ultimate, and then he forfeits the game. And that's GG right there. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so in this final match, I decided to use a rival universe team. And we're against triple Zenkai 7 Go hybrids. And as you saw again, I backfloated and they went for a tackle. So that's something you might want to start doing too. So he covers us pretty well. So in this case, I had to switch over to Champa to deal some type advantage damage. He switched it to Go Tanks, so I can't really move here because Topo is type disadvantage. So I stay with Champa to do as much damage as possible because I have nothing to do. So I go for the green here to eat up some more clock because he does get paralyzed, but he's immune, so I didn't know that. I had to switch to Topo, and now we clash. Unfortunately for us, he did a bad clash right there, so we were able to capitalize on it, but I have no freaking cards. Here I start drifting around to get my vanish, but it wasn't enough time. And then right out of nowhere, a full screen strike guard caught me off guard as I was floating to mid-range. So now I'm just forced to eat this damage because none of my units are ready to switch in. And Gotenks is doing a bunch of damage. Main ability, he redraws cards, and then he switches to Gohan. But luckily for us, we're tanking Gohan's cards, and I'm just wondering, why the hell does he have so many cards? So it ended off right here. Go for a couple tap blasts to bait out the vanish. This exchange is pretty weird. I think my brain just went blank. I couldn't even capitalize on a sidestep. And then he switches back to Gotenks, does some damage. I decided to let Topo take this damage. Honestly, in retrospect, maybe I should have let Champa take it. But Topo took the damage, so I couldn't really do anything. Try to go for some Ki Blast. I wanted to wait there to see if he was going to switch into another character and go for a sidestep, but that completely backfired, and I take even more damage. Luckily for us, he goes for another strike card, so that gives us the opportunity to switch into Champa. And then he goes in for the rush. At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty much lost this game. Like, both of my other two units are pretty much dead. Champa's gonna die to this rush, and all of his units are like pretty much max health, and there's Zenkai 7 units fully soul boosted. Like, how the hell am I supposed to win this game? But I decided to go with it, so now we're at Topo. He gets a perfect vanish, but he has no cards, which is really good for us. So I go for the heal, and now we're against Gohan. So I use the green card to stop the clock. He went for his main ability. So here, I just try to sidestep, and I get a perfect vanish, and I realized I'm doing a lot of damage, so I went for the blue card right away to get Gohan out of here. He wasn't type neutral because both his teammates were there, and right there, I stood there in mid-range to see what he was going to do, and luckily for us, he went for a Ki Blast, and I was able to use my rush. In the blink of an eye, we managed to turn this around. Now it's a 2v1, but that Gotenks is fairly tanky, and he has type advantage over one of our units, which is Topo. So in that case, I stayed in with Topo and decided to let him go because I believe he still has endurance at this time. So I went for a tackle there. Unfortunately, I couldn't dodge this. And I think this was the end for Topo. Yeah, there you go. So now we have Jiren. He has blast armor. I went for the heal because I need all the health I could get. I went for a tackle there because I saw him sidestep. I heard it. So now we clashed for the win. And luckily for us, we got the win. And of course, Jiren being at 10 stars is doing a lot of damage. Went for my couple strike cards and finally the ultimate. Actually, another strike card. And then to seal the deal, I went for the ultimate. But at this point, he forfeited the game.
You've left a lasting impression on me.
Well, that's pretty much it for all the matches. I know I was commenting a bit fast at certain points, but I just want to get as much info out while the match was going on. So I hope it's not too much trouble following and keeping track of what's going on. But let me know in the comments what you thought of this type of video. If you want me to do this more, I'll be glad to do it. I can record games off non-live commentary games. Maybe it could be even better games, and I can just comment it over and just let you know what goes through my mind. So just drop a comment, let me know how you like these type of videos, and I can definitely do them in the future. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe because that shit is so important. So don't forget. Other than that, have a great day. See ya.